There are a lot of reasons why Ash vs Paul is one of the greatest rivalries in anime to this day, and one of the first reasons is just how different Paul is compared to other trainers in the story. Unlike most other trainers, Paul believes that bonding and being kind to your Pokemon will make them soft and weak, so he would act hostile towards his Pokemon. Pokemon are just tools for him in battle, and Paul only cares about the strength of his Pokemon. He will only keep the strong ones, and those who don't meet his expectations are quickly discarded. This is a striking contrast to Ash, who believes Pokemon are your friends. These two quickly dislike each other early on due to both of them wanting to prove that their ideology was the right one, and after their first matchup ended in a draw, their rivalry will officially begin. Both Ash and Paul want to win, but they go about it in different ways. Paul believes that Ash is an incompetent trainer because of how Ash raises his Pokemon. Paul believes that a Pokemon has to reach their strongest form to be considered powerful, which is why all of his Pokemon are fully evolved. Ash, on the other hand, will never do that, leaving it up to his Pokemon instead. With this mindset, Paul has been able to bring out the best out of each one of his Pokemon. His Torterra and Gliscor are significantly more powerful than Ash's because Paul took the time to bring out their full potential, while Ash could never do the same. The flaw within Paul's ideology is that he is impatient with the growth of his Pokemon, which is why he quickly abandons any of them who doesn't meet his standards, whereas Ash will give any Pokemon a chance to grow and develop. Aside from their different views on Pokemon, Ash and Paul also have vastly different battling styles and strategies. Paul's fighting style is based on reading his opponent and bringing out the full ability of his Pokemon. In almost every battle he is part of, Paul will set up conditions in order for his Pokemon to use their full ability. He never takes high risks, but he will always have an effective strategy that will help him win. This was effectively shown in his Lake Acuity battle with Ash. Paul effortlessly read Ash like a book and comfortably beat him while only losing 2 of his Pokemon. Ash's battling style, however, is fast and unpredictable. Ash is always willing to take high risks in battle, which is highlighted through several of his Pokemon knowing recoil moves. Recoil moves are powerful attacks that hurt the opponent and the Pokemon that is using it, and most of Ash's Sinnoh team knows at least one of them. Paul, on the other hand, will never use a recoil move because he will never put his Pokemon in any disadvantaged state. However, even with all their differences in opposing beliefs, the true reason why this rivalry is so great is because of Chimchar. Chimchar was a powerful battler with a strong ability, but Paul overlooked Chimchar's strength and he believed that Chimchar's only worth is in its Blaze ability. But since Paul couldn't bring out Blaze, he gave up and abandoned his Chimchar, which Ash picked out to prove Paul wrong. Chimchar will make his final statement against Paul in the Sinnoh League as an Infernape, going up against Paul's ace, Electivire. After a heated exchange, Infernape will finally activate Blaze and use Flare Blitz to defeat Electivire. And it's pretty symbolic that Infernape is willing to hurt itself for its trainer in order to win the battle, while Paul is willing to hurt Infernape for his own benefit. In the end, Infernape proved Paul wrong. Pokemon aren't just tools, and any Pokemon can grow if you give it enough time and care, and this is what changes Paul. Paul was a trainer who cared too much about winning and wanted to see hasty results with his Pokemon, and his mistreatment of his Pokemon caused him to lose out on so many powerful Pokemon that he could have had he had just given his Pokemon enough time and care. In X and Y, we see Ash go through the same journey as Paul. Ash became focused on winning during his time in Kalos, just like Paul did, and once he discovered that his Greninja had a special ability, he became obsessed over it, over-relying on it, and in the process lost himself. It will take a brief reflection for Ash to regain who he once was and find his way again. This was the closest we saw Ash becoming like Paul, but thankfully, Ash had someone to guide him to the right path sooner, unlike Paul. To this day, I always go back to rewatch Ash and Paul's matchups just because they are so much fun to watch, and I still believe that their rivalry has not been topped, not just in Pokemon but in all of anime as well.